Christmas, a time for cheer and celebration. Yes, it is the season of giving and of getting. Millions are raised for charities and people give out of the kindness of their heart. But that's in our world. You know, the show that we often talk about, MLP, usually takes equivalencies from our holidays and they kind of transfigure them to fit their society. It happens a lot. In their world, there's simply a parallel world to our human world. And one of those holidays is obviously Christmas. Probably the biggest holiday of them all, at least in America. It's not even a religious holiday at this point. It's been commercialized and de-stigmatized to such a high degree that it's simply another national holiday. And over in Equestria, it's pretty much the same thing. They call it heartwarming, though they pretty much only focus on the Eve part, as we rarely see them actually celebrate heartwarming itself. I'm not sure why that is exactly. But heartwarming Eve isn't all sunshine and rainbows. Like with a lot of things in MLP, if you peel back the cover of it, it's actually pretty macabre. In fact, really the concept of MLP's heartwarming belongs more as a concept for a heavy metal album than anything else. While it does promote being kind and altruistic, really if you're not, it tells you that horses from the sky will descend upon you and freeze you and your family to death. It's not exactly being kind for the sake of being kind, but being kind because you don't want to be a frozen pony popsicle. And unfortunately, it looks like these wendigos, the things that freeze you, are only tied to ponies. They would follow wherever ponies went. They would freeze them if they ever got into fights and started arguing with one another, forcing them to work together. However, every other land that's ever been in turmoil has never really faced this. But we know all that. We've seen the multiple play versions of the founding of Equestria, in which they talk about how the Wendigos would pester the ponies constantly for the infighting and freeze their villages, destroying their crops and forcing many of them to either starve to death or force them to band together to save what little food they have. But something that constantly seems to be overlooked is that I don't think the Wendigos were just after Equestria. They do seem to be stuck with ponies, but I think something else happened here. Do you guys remember the Crystal Empire? That empire that seems to have came out of nowhere, that was seen as myth and legend until one day we found out all about it and how it was under attack by King Sombra. Well, if you go to the official wiki and you read some of the stuff that it says about it, it simply says that King Sombra, before being defeated, placed a curse on the land, and that curse froze the land and hid it for 1,000 years in the frozen tundra. It's never explained how he did this before being defeated, as it seems like it would be a monumentous level of magic that would have to be utilized in order to freeze an entire empire and then hide it. No, my friends, I don't think Celestia or Luna really lifted a hoof in the falling of the Crystal Empire. I think it was the Wendigos. I mean, let's be honest, Sombra didn't exactly have much power. As far as how he came to become smoke, I'm not exactly sure. Neither is the show, actually. But what I can say is that the freezing of an entire empire seems very familiar to what the Wendigos were trying to do to Equestria when they weren't working together. And I'm pretty sure the ultimate disharmony of non-teamworkness would be literal slavery, which is what Sombra did to the Crystal Ponies. I mean, you don't get any more literal than this. They're literally in shackles and chains. We see in alternate versions he mind controls them as well to fight in his armies. He's not exactly a great ruler, and people don't look very happy here. This fits the Wendigo's MOs to a T. As far as to why the Crystal Empire disappeared, quote unquote, it'd probably be the same reason why Luna was regarded as a myth. It was a folly in Equestria history that was covered up by the ruling body. It makes no sense that people would see Luna as non-historical. I mean, she ruled with Celestia for countless years. Why would the society just simply forget someone like that? especially after they turned evil and after a giant battle between her and her sister. This is something that would be marked down in history and repeated over and over as legend and truth. Think of some of the battles that we fought in America. Those certainly aren't pushed away. Our victories, our follies, they're all there. And yet, the Crystal Empire, Luna, various other things that are negative on Equestria are pushed away. It just kind of seems like this whole freezing of an entire empire was covered up, perhaps to save ponies from the reality of the Wendigos. While the play, I'm not sure, is treated as 100% factual, there are certain elements that seem to be realistic, according to that world. Even at the end of that episode, we have a little play with the characters having a window open, and at first they were fighting about it, and soon there's this very cold breeze that reminds them of the Wendigos. After that feeling, they decide it's probably best just to work together on this one. But with all the other mythical beasts and creatures that we see in the show, is it really that big of a stretch to think that Wendigos are real in this world? Well, I'm not exactly sure. That's just my pony theory. You guys can let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Be sure to like if you enjoyed. And I, for one, though, pretty glad that if I'm not on the nice list, then I'm not going to be frozen by mythical horses. Though, that would be a pretty metal way to die. As always, guys, I've been Faith or Moliminous. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. And Merry Christmas, or Happy Hanukkah, or whatever you guys celebrate. I hope you guys have a great and wonderful one. From me and the rest of the Moliminous team, we really do appreciate you guys, and we're glad you're sticking around. We'll see you in the next one.